The thing about having a common name is that it causes complications. Doctor's appointments get mixed up. Coffee orders go to the wrong person. And apparently, when a mafia boss wants someone kidnapped, you might get grabbed instead. My name is Maya Torres. I'm 29, I work as a bookkeeper for a small import company, and until tonight my biggest problem was deciding if I could afford to upgrade my ancient laptop. Now my biggest problem is the two large men who just grabbed me off the street, shoved me into a black SUV, and are driving me to God knows where. Please, there's been a mistake, I tried for the third time. I don't have any money, I'm nobody important, I think you have the wrong person. Shut up. The man in the passenger seat didn't even turn around. We know exactly who you are. Maya Torres. 29. Works at Castellano Imports. Lives alone in apartment 4B on Maple Street. We've been watching you for a week. That was all accurate, which somehow made this worse. They've been watching me. Planning this. Whatever this was. But why? What do you want from me? That's not our concern. We just deliver packages. What the boss does with them is his business. The driver took a sharp turn. Sit back. We'll be there soon. I considered jumping from the moving vehicle, but we were going too fast. Considered screaming, but we were in an industrial area now, empty warehouses and closed businesses. Nobody to hear. Nobody to help. So I sat back and tried not to panic, tried to think rationally about why anyone would kidnap a boring bookkeeper who lived a completely unremarkable life. The only possibility I could think of was my job. Castellano Imports. We handled shipments from Italy, mostly wine and olive oil and specialty foods. Completely legitimate business. Unless it wasn't. Unless there was something I'd missed in the books, some transaction I'd overlooked that suggested illegal operations. Oh God. Had I been unknowingly working for criminals? And now they were cleaning up loose ends? The SUV pulled into a warehouse, different from the ones we'd passed, clearly maintained and in use. The garage door closed behind us with a finality that made my stomach drop. Out. The passenger opened my door, gesturing with a gun I hadn't noticed until now. Move. Don't try anything stupid. I moved because a gun was very persuasive. They led me through the warehouse, surprisingly clean inside, organized, clearly used for storage of expensive-looking crates, and upstairs to what looked like offices on the second level. One of them knocked on a door. Boss? Package is here. Bring her in. The voice was deep, accented slightly, commanding. The voice of someone used to being obeyed. They pushed me inside and I stumbled, catching myself on a chair. The office was nice, real furniture, art on the walls, a massive desk where a man sat reviewing papers. He looked up and I got my first real look at my kidnapper. He was younger than I expected, mid to late 30s maybe, and far better looking than someone who kidnapped people had any right to be. Dark hair perfectly styled, sharp features that belonged on magazine covers, and eyes so dark they were almost black. He wore an expensive suit with the jacket off, sleeves rolled up to reveal forearms covered in intricate tattoos. He looked at me for a long moment, and I watched his expression shift from expectation to confusion to something I couldn't identify. "This is Maya Torres?" he asked, his eyes never leaving me. "Yes, boss." Grabbed her exactly as planned. No witnesses, clean extraction. "You're sure this is the right Maya Torres?" "Positive. Apartment 4B, Maple Street. Works at Castellano Imports. We verified everything." The man, the boss, stood, moving around his desk to study me more closely. He was tall, over 6 feet, with a build that suggested either serious gym time or a physically demanding job. Or both. "What's your full name?" he asked me. "Maya Elena Torres." "Why? What is this about?" My voice came out steadier than I felt. "Age?" 29. "Look, I don't know what you think I did, but where do you work?" "Castellano Imports. I'm a bookkeeper. Just a bookkeeper. I keep track of wine shipments and olive oil orders. That's all. I don't know anything about anything illegal, I swear." "Stop." He held up a hand, then turned to his men. "Get out. Both of you. Wait outside." "Boss, are you sure? Out. Now." They left, though clearly reluctant. The boss, I still didn't know his name, moved to a cabinet, poured 2 glasses of what looked like expensive whiskey and handed me one. "Drink. You look like you need it." "I don't drink. Tonight you make an exception." He settled against his desk, studying me with an intensity that made me uncomfortable. Maya Elena Torres. 29. Bookkeeper. Lives alone. No family in the city, parents deceased, no siblings. Drives a 10-year-old Honda, has exactly 2 close friends, spends weekends reading and avoiding social obligations. Correct? How do you know all that? Because I had you investigated very thoroughly before ordering your kidnapping. He took a sip of his whiskey. Except you're not supposed to be you. What? You're supposed to be Maya Torres. 28. Works for a rival family as an accountant. Has been skimming money from their operations and hiding it in offshore accounts. Has evidence of criminal activities that could bring down their entire organization. His dark eyes held mine. That Maya Torres. Not you. There's another Maya Torres? Relief flooded through me. So you grabbed the wrong person? This is just a mix-up. A very expensive mix-up. I paid a lot of money for intelligence on the right Maya Torres. Surveillance, background checks, schedules. And apparently my source gave me information on the wrong woman. He finished his whiskey. Which leaves me with a problem. Let me go. I won't tell anyone. I'll forget this ever happened. I promise, you'll go straight to the police the moment you're free. Report the kidnapping, describe my men, this location. That's not acceptable. He poured himself more whiskey. So I have limited options. Let you go and risk exposure. Kill you to eliminate the witness. Or what? My voice was barely a whisper. Or find another use for you. He moved closer and I fought the urge to back away. You work for Castellano Imports. Real Castellano Imports, the legitimate business. But you keep their books, see their transactions, understand their operations. That information could be valuable. You want me to spy on my employer? I want you to not be a complete waste of a kidnapping. His hand came up, tilting my chin to force eye contact. So here's your choice, Maya Torres. You work for me. Provide information about Castellano's operations, give me insight into their business dealings. Do that and you live. Refuse and I have no use for you. Choose wisely. That's extortion. That's pragmatism. I invested resources in obtaining a Maya Torres. I'm going to get value from that investment, even if it's the wrong Maya Torres. He released my chin. What's it going to be? I thought about my options. Go to the police if he let me live long enough. But even if I did, what then? These people knew where I lived, where I worked. They've been watching me for a week. They could find me again. Or I could cooperate. Give them what? Information about wine shipments? Olive oil orders? My employer was legitimate, boring. I had nothing useful to offer. I don't know anything valuable. Castellano Imports is just a regular business. We import food products. That's all. You keep their books. You see every transaction, every shipment, every payment. Trust me, that information is valuable. Even if you don't realize why. He returned to his desk, pulling out a folder. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to go home. Resume your normal life. But once a week you meet with one of my people. Share information about unusual shipments, large payments, new clients. Anything that seems different or noteworthy. And if I refuse? Then you don't go home. You disappear. Permanently. He said it casually, like discussing the weather. Don't overthink this, Maya. I'm offering you a way to survive a very bad situation. Take it. For how long? Until I decide I have enough information. Or until circumstances change. He stood. Now, do we have a deal? What choice did I have? Yes, we have a deal. Smart woman. He pressed a button on his desk. Marco, come back in. The door opened and one of the men who'd kidnapped me entered. Take Ms. Torres home. Make sure she understands that any attempt to contact the police will result in immediate consequences. And set up weekly meetings, somewhere neutral, discreet. Yes, boss. Wait. The boss moved closer again and I realized I still didn't know his name. One more thing, Maya. Don't try to run. Don't try to hide. Don't try to be clever. My people are watching. They'll know if you step out of line. Understand? I understand. Good. He almost smiled. Welcome to your new life. Try not to get yourself killed. Marco led me out, and I caught one last glimpse of the boss watching me go, his expression unreadable. In the SUV heading back to my apartment, Marco gave me a phone, a burner, he explained. This is how we'll contact you. Keep it charged, keep it hidden, answer when we call. Thursday nights, 9 p.m., you'll get a message with a location. Go there. Share what you've learned that week. Then go home. Simple. And if I don't have anything to share? Then you better hope the boss is in a forgiving mood. He pulled up to my building. Get out. And Maya? He's not usually forgiving. I stumbled into my apartment, locked every lock, and immediately started crying. Not from fear, though I was terrified, but from the sheer absurdity of it all. I'd been kidnapped because of my common name. Grabbed by mistake. And now I was a reluctant spy for a man whose name I didn't even know. My phone, my real phone, had 17 missed calls from my friend Jessica and a dozen texts asking where I was. I'd promised to meet her for drinks after work, and when I didn't show, she'd panicked. I texted back, sorry, work emergency. Had to stay late. I'm fine, just exhausted. Talk tomorrow? She responded immediately, you scared me. Yes, talk tomorrow. Get some sleep. But sleep was impossible. I sat on my couch staring at the burner phone, trying to process what had just happened. Trying to figure out who that man was. What he wanted. Whether I'd actually survive this. And weirdly, trying not to think about how attractive he'd been. Which was absolutely insane given the circumstances, but my brain apparently didn't care about appropriate thoughts when faced with life-threatening situations. Thursday was 3 days away. 3 days to figure out what information I could possibly offer that would satisfy a man who kidnapped people and threatened death so casually. 3 days to decide if I was brave enough to go to the police, or smart enough to realize that would just get me killed faster. 3 days until my new life as an unwilling informant began. I finally fell asleep around dawn, the burner phone clutched in my hand, and dreamed of dark eyes and dangerous men and wrong names leading to right disasters. Day 3, the burner phone buzzed at exactly 9 p.m. on Thursday. I'd been staring at it for the past hour, dreading and anticipating the message in equal measure. Antonio's Cafe. 10 p.m. Back booth. Come alone. I had 45 minutes to get there, which meant I needed to leave now. I changed into jeans and a dark sweater, trying to look inconspicuous, and grabbed my purse. The notebook inside held a week's worth of Castellano Imports transactions, meticulously copied during lunch breaks when no one was watching. Not that there was anything interesting in them. Wine shipments, olive oil orders, payment processing. All completely legitimate, boring bookkeeping. I had no idea what the boss expected me to provide, but this was all I had. Antonio's Cafe was a small Italian place in a quiet neighborhood, the kind of establishment that probably did most of its business with regulars. I arrived at 9:55, scanning the interior nervously. The back booth was occupied by a single man reading a newspaper. Not the boss. Someone else. Younger, less intimidating, but clearly connected given how he assessed me as I approached. Maya Torres? He folded the newspaper. Yes. Sit. I'm Nico. I'll be your contact for these meetings. The boss doesn't have time for weekly check-ins, so you deal with me. Understood? I slid into the booth across from him. Understood. What do you have? He signaled the waitress, ordered coffee for both of us without asking if I wanted any. I pulled out my notebook, sliding it across. A week's worth of transactions. Shipments, payments, new clients. Everything that seemed different. Nico flipped through it, his expression bored. This is it? Wine and olive oil? Maya, we need actionable intelligence, not grocery lists. That's all there is. Castellano Imports is exactly what it claims to be, a food import business. If there's something criminal happening, it's not in the books I see. Or you're not looking hard enough. He closed the notebook. The boss isn't going to be happy with this. Then maybe he should have kidnapped the right Maya Torres. The words came out sharper than intended, frustration overriding caution. Nico's eyebrows rose. Careful. The boss has a temper when people are ungrateful for his mercy. Mercy? He threatened to kill me if I didn't spy on my employer. That's not mercy, that's coercion. You're alive, aren't you? That's more mercy than most people get after witnessing our operations. He pocketed the notebook. Look, I'll pass this along. But you need to find something useful by next week. Dig deeper. Ask questions. figure out if Castellano is really as clean as he appears, or if he's just good at hiding his dirt. And if he is clean? If there's nothing to find? Then you better hope the boss decides you're valuable for other reasons. Nico stood, dropping money on the table for the coffee. Thursday, 9 p.m. Same routine. Don't be late. He left, and I sat there trying to calm my racing heart. This was my life now, weekly meetings, constant fear, looking over my shoulder wondering if I was doing enough to stay alive. The waitress brought coffee I hadn't ordered but was suddenly grateful for. As I drank it, I noticed something on the newspaper Nico had left behind. A circled article about a local shipping magnate, Vincent Castellano, attending a charity gala. My employer. Not particularly interesting except that the article mentioned his business expanding into new ventures and additional services beyond traditional imports. Maybe there was something to find after all. Over the next week, I became a spy without meaning to. I started paying attention to things I'd previously ignored: late-night phone calls my boss took in his private office, the occasional shipment marked priority handling, clients who paid in cash rather than wire transfers. Small things. Probably meaningless. But maybe not. "You're working late a lot lately," my coworker Sarah observed on Tuesday. "Everything okay?" "Just trying to stay on top of things. Mr. Castellano mentioned wanting to review the quarterly reports early, so I'm getting ahead." The lie came easily now. Too easily. "Well, don't burn yourself out. It's just wine and olive oil. Not exactly life or death." She laughed, grabbing her purse. "I'm heading out. See you tomorrow." If only she knew how wrong she was. In my world now, wine and olive oil could absolutely be life or death. That night I stayed late with permission, using the time to access files I normally wouldn't. Nothing dramatic, just older records, archived transactions, the kind of mundane paperwork that gets stored and forgotten. And I found something. 3 years ago, Castellano Imports had processed a series of shipments from a company in Sicily that no longer existed. Large payments, unusual handling fees, notation of special customs arrangements. All perfectly documented and apparently legitimate. Except when I cross-referenced the dates, they coincided with a major drug trafficking investigation in the city. An investigation that had gone nowhere because evidence disappeared and witnesses recanted. It could be coincidence. Or it could be exactly what the boss was looking for. I copied the information, my hands shaking. This felt different from wine orders. This felt dangerous. Thursday night, Antonio's Cafe again. Same booth. But this time when I arrived at 9:55, it wasn't Nico waiting for me. It was the boss. He sat in the back booth, wearing a black button-down shirt with sleeves rolled to show his tattooed forearms, looking far too comfortable in the small cafe. A coffee sat in front of him untouched, and his dark eyes tracked me the moment I entered. "Ms. Torres. Sit." Not a request. I slid into the booth, trying to control my breathing. I was expecting Nico. Nico reports to me. He said your first week's information was disappointingly basic. I wanted to see for myself if that trend continues, or if you've proven more useful. He leaned back, studying me. "So, what do you have?" I pulled out my notebook, sliding it across. Transactions from 3 years ago. Large shipments from a Sicilian company that no longer exists. Unusual handling fees, special customs arrangements. The dates match a major drug trafficking investigation that went nowhere. He picked up the notebook, flipping through it with more interest than Nico had shown. Castellano was moving product through his import business, using legitimate shipments as cover. I don't know that for certain. It could be coincidence, it's not. This is useful, Maya. Very useful. He closed the notebook, his expression something close to approval. See what happens when you actually look? When you dig deeper instead of just copying surface transactions. I could get fired for accessing archived files. You could get killed for refusing to cooperate with me. Priorities. But his tone was almost amused. This is good work. Keep it up. So I've earned another week of survival? You've earned another week of freedom. Whether you survive depends on whether you continue being useful. He gestured to the waitress, ordered coffee for me without asking. Tell me about yourself, Maya Torres. Beyond the facts I already know. Who are you when you're not keeping books and avoiding social obligations? Why do you care? Because I invested resources in you. Even if you're not the Maya I intended to acquire, you're the Maya I have. I like to know about my investments. He took a sip of his coffee. So, who are you? Nobody interesting. I work, I go home, I read books. That's my life. No family? No boyfriend? No grand ambitions? My parents died in a car accident when I was 22. No siblings. No boyfriend because I'm too busy working to date. And my grand ambition was to save enough for a better laptop. Not exactly thrilling. I took the coffee the waitress brought. What about you? Who's the man who kidnaps wrong people and threatens death so casually? Someone who grew up in a world where violence is currency and mercy is weakness. Someone who learned early that being ruthless keeps you alive while being soft gets you killed. His eyes held mine. Someone who makes difficult decisions so people in my world can live to make more difficult decisions. That's very philosophical for a criminal. I contain multitudes. A slight smile. My name is Dante Romano, since you never asked. I run operations for the Romano family, security, conflict resolution, territory management. When someone needs to disappear or be convinced to cooperate, I handle it. When business disputes get violent, I end them. And when the wrong Maya Torres gets kidnapped, I figure out how to make that mistake profitable. By turning me into an informant. By giving you purpose beyond mundane bookkeeping. You're welcome. He finished his coffee. Same time next week. And Maya? Bring something equally useful. I'm starting to think you might actually be worth keeping around. As opposed to killing? As opposed to being disappointed. There's a difference. He stood, dropping money on the table. Go home. Get some rest. And keep digging. I want to know everything Castellano was involved in 3 years ago and everything he's involved in now. That's a lot of information to gather in a week. Then you better get started. He paused at the booth. And Maya? You did well tonight. Keep it up and you might actually survive this arrangement. He left and I sat there processing the conversation. Dante Romano. I finally had a name for my kidnapper. And weirdly, having a name made him feel less like a faceless threat and more like a person. A dangerous criminal person, but a person nonetheless. The waitress came by to refill my coffee. You okay, honey? You look shaken. I'm fine. Just processing some things. That man you were with, he comes in sometimes. Always respectful, tips well, but there's something about him that makes everyone nervous. She lowered her voice. My advice? Whatever you're involved in with him, be careful. Men like that are trouble. I know. Believe me, I know. But as I walked home, I couldn't help replaying the conversation. The way Dante had looked almost impressed with my findings. The way he'd asked about my life like he was genuinely curious. The way he'd said I might be worth keeping around, not as a threat but as almost a compliment. I was losing my mind. Developing some kind of hostage syndrome toward a man who'd kidnapped me, threatened me, and forced me into being a spy. This was textbook inappropriate psychological response to trauma. And yet, when I got home, I opened my laptop and started researching the Romano family. If I was going to be involved with Dante Romano, even unwillingly, I needed to understand who he was. What I found was complicated. The Romano family was old money, old power, deeply embedded in the city's criminal infrastructure. They controlled territory, ran legitimate businesses as covers, maintained order through fear and respect in equal measure. And Dante was the family's enforcer, the one they called when problems needed permanent solutions. He'd killed people. That was documented, even if nothing had ever been proven in court. He'd made people disappear. He'd built a reputation as someone you didn't cross unless you were prepared to die for it. And I was now in his employ, willingly or not. Connected to his world by virtue of a mistaken identity and a common name. I should have been terrified. Should have been planning escape routes, contacting the FBI, doing anything except sitting here researching my kidnapper like he was an interesting puzzle to solve. But terror was exhausting and I only had so much energy. So instead I focused on survival. On being useful enough to stay alive. On navigating this impossible situation with as much grace as I could manage. The burner phone sat on my nightstand, a constant reminder of my new reality. Next Thursday I'd meet Dante again. Give him more information. Try to prove I was worth keeping alive. And maybe, just maybe, figure out why part of me was looking forward to it. Week 3. The thing about becoming a spy is that you start seeing everything differently. A late-night phone call isn't just a phone call, it's potential evidence. A cash payment isn't just a transaction, it's money laundering. A priority shipment isn't expedited service, it's something someone wants hidden. I'd become paranoid, suspicious, constantly analyzing. And it was exhausting. Maya, you okay? Sarah asked, finding me staring at shipping manifests during lunch. You've been really intense lately. Is something going on? Just trying to catch up. Mr. Castellano wants quarterly reviews done early, remember? That was 2 weeks ago. You're still working on it. She peered at my screen. Those are old manifests. Like really old. Why are you looking at stuff from 3 years ago? Background research. Understanding historical patterns helps predict future trends. The lie was getting smoother, more convincing. I hated how easily deception came now. Don't worry about it. Okay, but seriously, when's the last time you took a break? You're here before everyone else, leave after everyone's gone. You're going to burn out. I'm fine. Really? I closed the file, forcing a smile. But thanks for checking on me. She left, still looking concerned, and I returned to my research. Because I'd found something. Something big enough that I wasn't sure if I should tell Dante or pretend I'd never seen it. Castellano Imports had a silent partner. Someone listed in documents filed with the state but never mentioned in day-to-day operations. Someone whose name made my blood run cold when I cross-referenced it. Victor Russo. A name that appeared in multiple articles about organized crime in the city. A name connected to the drug trafficking investigation from 3 years ago. A name that suggested Castellano wasn't just moving product for criminals, he was partnered with them. This was dangerous information. The kind that could get me killed if the wrong people knew I had it. But it was also exactly what Dante wanted, proof that Castellano's business wasn't as legitimate as it appeared. I copied the documents, encrypted them on a thumb drive, and tried not to think about how this information could be used. How many people it might hurt. How complicit I was becoming in whatever Dante planned to do with it. Thursday night I arrived at Antonio's cafe at 9:50, too nervous to be late. Dante was already there, same booth, same dark clothing, same intense presence that made the small cafe feel smaller. Maya. Punctual as always. He gestured to the seat across from him. Coffee? No. I need to give you something and leave. This is too dangerous to linger over. His expression sharpened. Show me. I slid the thumb drive across the table. Castellano has a silent partner. Victor Russo. All the documentation is there, partnership agreements, profit sharing, everything. Castellano's been working with organized crime for at least 5 years. The drug shipments from 3 years ago were just one operation. There are others. Ongoing ones. Dante picked up the thumb drive, turning it over in his fingers. Victor Russo. The Russo family underboss. This is significant. This is terrifying. If Castellano finds out I accessed these files, I'm dead. If the Russo family finds out I gave them to you, I'm dead. I've basically signed my own death warrant giving you this. Then it's good you have my protection. He pocketed the drive. This is excellent work, Maya. Better than excellent. This gives me leverage I didn't have before. Leverage for what? For negotiations that aren't your concern. He leaned back, studying me. You look exhausted. How much sleep have you been getting? What does that matter? It matters because you're an asset I need to keep functional. And assets don't function well when they're running on fumes. He stood. Come on. We're leaving. What? No. I gave you the information. I'm going home. You're going to my place, where we're going to have a proper conversation about boundaries and self-care. Move. His tone left no room for argument. I'm not going anywhere with you. Our arrangement is information exchange, not whatever this is. Our arrangement is whatever I say it is. And right now I'm concerned that my informant is about to collapse from stress and exhaustion, which makes her useless to me. He dropped money on the table. We can do this the easy way where you walk out with me voluntarily, or the hard way where I carry you out. Your choice, but choose quickly. We're attracting attention. The waitress was indeed watching us, concern evident on her face. The last thing I needed was someone calling the police because the situation looked dangerous. Fine. But only for an hour. Then I'm going home. Deal. His car was parked outside, a black luxury sedan that screamed money. He opened the passenger door for me, which felt absurdly gentlemanly given that he'd basically just coerced me into coming with him. "Where are we going?" I asked as he pulled into traffic. "My apartment. It's private, secure, and has significantly better coffee than Antonio's." He navigated the streets with practiced ease. "Relax, Maya. If I wanted to hurt you, I wouldn't need to lure you to my apartment to do it. That's not as reassuring as you think it is." Fair point. But he was almost smiling. His apartment was in a high-rise downtown, penthouse level of course, because apparently all criminals lived in penthouses. The interior was surprisingly tasteful, modern furniture, original art, floor-to-ceiling windows with a view of the city. Lived in but immaculate. "Sit." He gestured to a leather couch. "I'll make coffee." "I don't want coffee. I want to know why I'm here." "Because we need to discuss terms." He moved to the kitchen anyway, starting an expensive-looking espresso machine. "You've been providing excellent information. Better than I anticipated. But you're also clearly stressed, paranoid, barely sleeping. That's not sustainable." "I'm stressed because you're making me spy on my employer, who's apparently partnered with the mafia. That tends to cause stress." "Understandable. Which is why we're adjusting the arrangement." He returned with 2 small cups of espresso. "Drink. It's actually good, unlike the swill at Antonio's." I took the cup because arguing seemed pointless. The espresso was, annoyingly, excellent. "What adjustment?" I asked. "You're done working at Castellano Imports. Effective immediately." I nearly dropped my cup. "What? You can't just, I need that job. I have bills, rent, I can't just quit." "You're not quitting. You're being relocated. I have a position available in one of my legitimate businesses, an accounting firm that handles books for various clients. Better pay, better hours, significantly less danger of being caught snooping." He settled across from me. "You'll work there, live your life, and I'll handle Castellano through other means. You've given me enough information to proceed without risking you further." "Why would you do that? I thought I was just an asset to be used until I broke." "You are an asset. A valuable one. And I protect my assets." His dark eyes held mine. "Maya, you stumbled into my world by accident. Wrong name, wrong time, wrong circumstances. But you've handled it with more grace and competence than most people would. You've earned consideration beyond just being a disposable informant." "So what am I now? If not disposable?" "Someone I'm invested in keeping alive and functional. Someone who's proven herself useful enough to warrant actual protection rather than just threats." He took a sip of espresso. "Someone I'm starting to respect, despite the circumstances of our meeting." "You respect me? The woman you kidnapped by mistake? The woman who, when faced with kidnapping and death threats, chose to be useful instead of falling apart? Who found information I needed without being told exactly what to look for? Who showed up every Thursday despite being terrified, because she understood the stakes?" He leaned forward. "Yes, Maya. I respect you. Which is why I'm offering you an out from the most dangerous part of this arrangement." "And the less dangerous part is, what?" "Working for your accounting firm while knowing you're a criminal. Knowing I'm a criminal who's keeping you alive and employed. There are worse situations." He stood, moving to the windows. "Think about it. New job, better pay, significantly less risk. You give notice at Castellano's next week, start at Romano accounting the week after. Clean transition, no suspicion. And what do you get out of this? If I'm not spying anymore? Peace of mind that you're not going to get yourself killed stumbling into something too dangerous. And occasional consultation when I need someone with your skills to review financial documents or explain accounting irregularities." He turned back to me. "Consider it a promotion. From coerced informant to protected consultant. That's still coercion. That's still survival. But with better benefits." His smile was slight. "Take the offer, Maya. It's the best one you're going to get." I thought about it. About continuing at Castellano Imports, constantly afraid of being caught. About the late nights and the paranoia and the exhaustion. About how Sarah had noticed I was different, which meant others would notice too eventually. What's the catch? The catch is you're now connected to me and my organization permanently. Even after you've served your purpose, even after any debts are paid, you'll always be someone who worked for Dante Romano. That connection doesn't go away. His expression was serious. Once you're in my world, Maya, you don't fully leave it. Ever. That's the catch. So I'm trading temporary danger for permanent association with organized crime. You're trading high risk for manageable risk. And you're doing it with my protection, my resources, and my word that you won't be harmed as long as you don't betray me. He moved closer. That's the best deal available. Take it or leave it, but decide now. I need to know if I'm moving forward with you or replacing you. Replacing me with what? Someone more willing to accept the terms of our arrangement. Don't test me on this, Maya. I'm offering you consideration because I choose to. That consideration can be withdrawn. The threat was subtle but clear. Take the deal or become expendable again. Fine. I accept. New job, protection, occasional consultation. But I want one thing in return. You're negotiating? He sounded amused. You said I earned consideration. So yes, I'm negotiating. I want honesty. If you're going to use information I provide to hurt people, to start wars, to do whatever it is you do, I want to know. No surprises, no using me blind. If I'm permanently connected to your world, I deserve to know what my information accomplishes. He considered this for a long moment. Deal. I'll tell you how I use what you provide. Within reason, there are some things you're better off not knowing in detail. But broad strokes? Yes. You'll know. Then we have an agreement. I stood, offering my hand. New job, protection, honesty. And I don't get killed. And you don't get killed. He shook my hand, his grip warm and firm. Welcome to Romano Accounting, Maya Torres. Try not to make me regret this decision. I could say the same to you. Fair point. He walked me to the door. Give notice tomorrow. 2 weeks, professional, no drama. I'll have your new employment contracts ready by next week. And Maya? Yes? Thank you. For the information. For trusting me with it. For not running when you had chances to. His expression was genuine. You're handling an impossible situation with remarkable strength. That doesn't go unnoticed. I left feeling strangely grateful, which was absolutely insane. But somehow Dante Romano had gone from terrifying kidnapper to, what? Protector? Employer? Something I didn't have words for yet. And I was stepping deeper into his world with every decision I made. God help me. Week 6 Romano Accounting was nothing like I expected. Located in a respectable downtown office building, with legitimate clients and actual accounting work, it felt almost normal. Except for the occasional meeting where Dante would appear, close the door, and discuss special projects that had nothing to do with tax returns. Maya, can you look at this? My new boss, an older woman named Grace, handed me a file. Client wants to restructure their business holdings. I need your assessment on the tax implications. I flipped through the documents, immediately recognizing the shell company structure. This was money laundering, dressed up in legitimate business language. The restructuring would reduce tax burdens significantly, I said carefully. Though it might attract scrutiny from the IRS given the complexity. That's what I thought. I'll advise them to simplify. Grace took back the file. You're good at this. Seeing patterns, understanding implications. Dante said you were sharp, but I wasn't sure if that was just him being, well, him. Him being what? Interested in something other than business for once. She smiled. He doesn't usually involve himself in hiring decisions. But he specifically requested you for this position. Made it very clear you were to be given every opportunity to succeed. He's just protecting his investment. Maybe. Or maybe he actually cares about your well-being. With Dante, it's hard to tell the difference. She returned to her desk. Either way, you're doing excellent work. Keep it up. I spent the rest of the day reviewing files, some legitimate and some questionably so, trying to navigate the line between accountant and criminal accomplice. It was easier than I expected. Most of the work was actual accounting, just for clients who happened to operate outside the law. At 6, my desk phone rang. Internal line. Maya Torres. My office. Now. Dante's voice, no greeting or explanation. His office was on the top floor, naturally. I took the elevator up, trying not to be nervous. In the 3 weeks I'd been working here, I'd only been to his office twice, both times for consultation on documents he needed analyzed. His assistant, a severe woman named Patricia, waved me through. He's expecting you. Dante's office was corner suite, windows on 2 walls decorated in dark wood and leather. He stood at the window wearing a charcoal suit with his jacket off, sleeves rolled up to reveal the tattoos I'd become familiar with. "Close the door," he said without turning around. I closed it, staying near the entrance. "You wanted to see me?" "I wanted to check in. See how you're adjusting to your new position." He turned and I noticed he looked tired. "Grace says you're doing well. Catching things other accountants miss. Making yourself invaluable. I'm doing the job you hired me for. You're exceeding expectations. There's a difference." He moved to his desk, gesturing to the chair across from it. "Sit. We need to discuss the Castellano situation." My stomach dropped. "What about it?" "The information you provided led to a negotiation between my family and the Russos. Turns out Castellano was skimming from both sides, taking our money, taking their money, keeping the difference. Neither family was pleased to learn this." He poured 2 glasses of whiskey from a crystal decanter. "We've reached an agreement. Castellano's operations are being absorbed. Split between Romano and Russo territories. And Castellano himself? Disappeared. Permanently. He won't be a problem for anyone anymore." Dante said it casually, like discussing a business merger rather than murder. "I wanted you to know. You provided the information that made this possible. You deserve to understand the outcome. You killed him. I eliminated a problem that was stealing from multiple families and putting innocent people at risk through his reckless operations. Yes." He slid a glass toward me. "Does that bother you?" "It should. I should be horrified that information I provided led to someone's death." I took the glass because my hands needed something to hold. But mostly I'm just numb. Is that wrong? It's survival. You can't afford to feel everything, not in this world. Numbness is protective. He took a drink. For what it's worth, Castellano was not a good man. He was trafficking drugs through legitimate businesses, using civilian employees as unwitting accomplices. People like you, Maya. People who thought they were keeping books for wine shipments when they were really covering for heroin distribution. You didn't kill an innocent man. You helped eliminate someone who deserved elimination. That's very convenient rationalization. That's truth. But believe what you need to believe." He set down his glass. "The reason I'm telling you this is because the Russo family knows someone provided information about Castellano. They don't know who, but they're looking. Which means you need to be more careful. Vary your routines, stay aware of your surroundings. If anyone approaches you asking about Castellano or your time at his company, you tell me immediately. Understood? You said I'd be safe working here. You are safe. As long as you're cautious and report anything unusual. I have people watching you, but I need you to watch yourself too." He moved around the desk, leaning against it directly in front of me. "Maya, I won't let anything happen to you. But I need you to help me keep you safe. Can you do that? Do I have a choice? You always have choices. But some choices are significantly smarter than others." His hand came up, tilting my chin to force eye contact. "I meant what I said weeks ago. You're under my protection. That's not just words, it's a promise. But promises only work if both parties uphold their end. I protect you. You trust me to protect you. Deal?" His touch was gentle despite the calluses on his fingers, despite the violence I knew those hands were capable of. And standing this close, I could see the details, the faint scar on his jaw, the flecks of gold in his dark eyes, the way he looked at me like I was actually important rather than just useful. "Deal," I whispered. "Good." But he didn't move away, didn't remove his hand from my face. "Maya, can I ask you something personal?" "I don't think we have an impersonal relationship at this point." "Fair. Are you afraid of me? Still? After all these weeks?" I thought about it honestly. I should be. You kidnapped me, threatened me, killed someone based on information I provided. Every rational part of me says I should be terrified. I met his eyes. But no. I'm not afraid of you anymore. I'm afraid of your world, afraid of the danger, afraid of making mistakes. But you specifically? No. Somewhere along the way you stopped being a threat and started being. I don't know what. But not a threat. That's either very brave or very foolish. Probably both. I stood, forcing space between us because the proximity was doing things to my judgment. Was there anything else? Or was this just checking in on your investment? It stopped being just investment around week 3. When you found the Russo connection and gave it to me knowing it could get you killed. That was bravery I didn't expect, loyalty I hadn't earned, trust one didn't deserve. He moved back to the window. You're not an investment anymore, Maya. You're complicated. And I don't do complicated. But here we are. What does that mean? It means I'm protective of you beyond professional necessity. It means I think about your safety more than I should. It means when I saw you walking into the building this morning, my first thought was that you looked tired and I wanted to know why. He laughed, short and bitter. It means I'm getting attached to the wrong Maya Torres in all the wrong ways. My heart was pounding. Dante, go home, Maya. It's late. We'll talk about this another time when I've figured out what the hell I'm doing. He didn't turn around. And Maya? Be careful. The Russos are dangerous when they're hunting for information. Don't give them any reason to look at you. I left, my mind spinning. Dante Romano was getting attached. To me. The wrong Maya Torres who'd stumbled into his world by accident. The woman he'd kidnapped and coerced and forced into his organization. And the worst part? I was getting attached too. 2 days later I was leaving work when I noticed the car. Black sedan, tinted windows, parked across the street with someone inside. Watching. I pulled out my phone, texting Dante, being watched. Black sedan outside office. His response was immediate, don't approach. Walk toward Main Street. My people will intercept. I followed instructions, walking casually toward the busier street, trying not to look like I'd noticed the tail. The sedan followed, maintaining distance. Then suddenly it was blocked by 2 SUVs, Dante's people moving with practiced precision. Men got out, surrounded the sedan, pulled out the driver. I kept walking because watching would draw attention. But I heard the commotion, heard voices raised, heard what sounded like a brief scuffle. My phone rang. Dante. Maya, where are you? 2 blocks from the office. Heading toward the subway. Don't take the subway. Meet me at the corner of 5th and Main. Now. I changed direction, hurrying to the meeting point. Dante's car pulled up within minutes, and he leaned across to open the passenger door. Get in. I got in and he pulled into traffic immediately, checking mirrors constantly. Who was following me? Russo family. Junior associate, not particularly bright, clearly assigned to watch you and report back. His jaw was tight. They know you worked for Castellano. They're trying to figure out if you're connected to the information leak. What did your people do to him? Had a conversation. Made it clear that you're under Romano protection and therefore off limits. Sent him back to his bosses with that message. He took a sharp turn. But Maya, this means they're actively investigating. You need to disappear for a few days. Let things cool down. Disappear where? My place. It's secure, private, they won't look for you there. You'll stay with me until the Russos either accept you're protected or I handle the situation permanently. Handle it how? Do you really want details? You promised me honesty. Fine. If they keep pushing, keep investigating, keep threatening you, I eliminate the threat. Permanently. I go to war with the Russo family if that's what it takes to keep you safe. He glanced at me. That's the truth. That's what I'm willing to do. Does it scare you? It should. But does it? No. It makes me feel. I struggled for words. Protected. Actually, genuinely protected by someone who's willing to go to war for me. That's not something I've ever felt before. Then you've been surrounded by the wrong people. He pulled into his building's garage. Come on. Let's get you inside. We'll figure out the rest tomorrow. His apartment felt different this time, less like enemy territory and more like sanctuary. He immediately started making phone calls, organizing security, ensuring no one knew where I was. You're safe here, he said finally, hanging up. No one gets past building security without my approval. You can relax. I don't know how to relax when people are hunting me. Fair point. He moved to the kitchen. I'm making dinner. You're eating. Then we're both getting sleep because tomorrow we're dealing with the Russo problem properly. How? By making it very clear that you're not just under my protection, you're mine. And anyone who threatens what's mine doesn't survive to regret it. His dark eyes held mine. That work for you? That works for me. Because somewhere between being kidnapped and being protected, between coercion and choice, I'd stopped being just the wrong Maya Torres. I'd become his Maya Torres. And I was surprisingly okay with that. Day 3 at Dante's apartment living with Dante Romano was an exercise in contradictions. He was a killer who made perfect espresso every morning. A criminal who read classic literature before bed. A man who threatened death casually but got genuinely upset when I skipped meals because I was stressed. Eat. He set a plate of pasta in front of me, carbonara, made from scratch, better than any restaurant. You've barely touched food in 2 days. That's not acceptable. I'm not hungry. I don't care. You need to eat to stay functional and I need you functional. But his voice was gentle, concerned rather than commanding. Please, Maya. For me? I ate because arguing seemed pointless and because the pasta really was excellent. He watched, satisfied, before settling across from me with his own plate. Any word on the Russo situation? I asked. I'm handling it. You don't need to worry about details. At my expression, he sighed. Fine. I'm meeting with Victor Russo tomorrow. Neutral territory, proper protocols. Going to explain that you're under permanent Romano protection and any further investigation or threats will be considered acts of war. That should end it. And if it doesn't? Then I end it. Permanently. He took a bite of pasta. But it won't come to that. The Russos aren't stupid, they know war with the Romano family would be costly. They'll accept the terms and move on. You sound very certain. I am certain. Because I'm making it clear that you're not negotiable. You're mine to protect and I don't compromise on what's mine. His dark eyes held mine. That's not bravado, Maya. That's fact. The Russos will accept it or deal with consequences. You keep saying I'm yours. What does that mean exactly? It means you're under my protection permanently. It means anyone who threatens you answers to me. It means, he stopped, seeming to reconsider his words. It means you're important to me beyond professional necessity. And I don't let important things get hurt. Dante, you kidnapped me. 2 months ago you grabbed me off the street and threatened to kill me if I didn't cooperate. Now you're saying I'm important to you? That's insane. I know. But somewhere between the kidnapping and the protection, between coercion and choice, you became more than just the wrong woman in the right situation. You became. He set down his fork. You became someone I care about. Actually, genuinely care about. And I don't know what to do with that. You could start by not holding me captive in your apartment. You're not captive. You're protected. There's a difference. Is there? Because I can't leave, can't go home, can't resume my normal life. That sounds a lot like captive. You can't leave because leaving gets you killed by the Russo family. You can't go home because your apartment isn't secure enough. You can't resume normal life because your life stopped being normal the moment my men grabbed the wrong Maya Torres. He stood, pacing to the windows. I'm trying to keep you alive, Maya. If that feels like captivity, I'm sorry. But alive and captive beats dead and free. He had a point. As much as I hated it, he had a point. I'm going to bed. I stood, exhaustion making me shaky. Thank you for dinner. And for the protection. And for caring, I guess, even if the circumstances are completely insane. Maya, wait. He crossed the space between us. I need you to understand something. This situation, you being here, me protecting you, the Russo threat, it's temporary. Once I handle Victor tomorrow, once the threat is neutralized, you can go home. Resume your life. You don't have to stay here. And if I want to stay? The question hung between us, dangerous and heavy. Then we're having a very different conversation. His hand came up, cupping my face. Because if you stay by choice, if you choose this life and me and everything that comes with it, that's not protection anymore. That's something else entirely. What else? I don't know yet. But I'd like to find out. His thumb traced my cheekbone. So tomorrow, after I meet with Victor, after the threat is handled, we'll talk. Really talk. About what you want, what I want, what this could be if we're both brave enough to try. And if I'm not brave enough? Then I let you go. Give you your life back. And try to forget what it felt like to have you here in my space, becoming part of my routine. His forehead rested against mine. But Maya, I really hope you're brave enough. Because I'm already halfway to something I can't take back, and I'd rather not fall alone. I should have pulled away. Should have maintained distance, kept boundaries, remembered that this man had kidnapped me and forced me into his world. But instead I leaned into his touch, craving the warmth and safety and connection I'd found in the most unlikely place. "I'm scared," I whispered. "Good. Fear means you're smart enough to understand the stakes. But scared doesn't mean no, does it?" "No. Scared doesn't mean no." "Then we'll figure it out tomorrow. After Victor. After you're safe." He pressed a kiss to my forehead, gentle and promising. "Get some rest. Tomorrow changes everything, one way or another." I went to the guest room, my room for the past 3 nights, and tried to sleep. But my mind kept replaying the conversation, his words, the way he'd looked at me like I was something precious rather than just someone to protect. Dante Romano was falling for me. The wrong Maya Torres. And I was falling right back. Absolutely insane. The next day Dante left early for his meeting with Victor Russo, dressed in a sharp black suit, looking every inch the dangerous man he was. "Stay inside. Don't answer the door for anyone. I'll be back in a few hours. Be careful." "Always am." But he paused at the door. "Maya, if something goes wrong, if I don't come back, there's an envelope in my desk. Top drawer. Instructions, money, contacts. Everything you need to disappear safely. Promise me you'll use it if necessary. Nothing's going to go wrong. Promise me anyway." "I promise." "But Dante, you're coming back. You have to come back." "Planning on it." He almost smiled. "After all, we have that conversation scheduled. Can't miss it." He left, and the apartment felt immediately emptier, quieter, more anxious. I tried to distract myself with TV, with books, with anything. But I kept checking my phone, waiting for word that he was okay. Hours passed. 3, then 4, then 5. Far longer than a meeting should take. My phone finally rang at 2 p.m. Unknown number. "Hello? Maya Torres." The voice was unfamiliar, cold. "This is Victor Russo. We need to talk." My blood went ice. "Where's Dante?" "Dante Romano is currently detained. We're having a disagreement about terms. Specifically about you." A pause. "He claims you're under permanent Romano protection. That you're important to him personally. That threatening you would mean war. Is that true?" Yes. That's true." "Interesting. Because our investigation suggests you're just an accountant who happened to work for Castellano briefly. Not particularly important to anyone. Which makes me wonder why Dante is so insistent about protecting you." His voice was calculating. "Unless you're more than just an accountant. Unless you're the source who provided information about Castellano's operations. Are you that source, Maya?" My mind raced. Admit it, and Victor would want revenge. Deny it, and Dante's protection claim looked suspicious. Either way, this was dangerous. I worked for Castellano. I kept his books. If someone used that information against him, that's not my fault. Clever non-answer. But I think we both know the truth. A pause. "Here's what's going to happen. You're going to meet me. Alone. In 1 hour. I'm texting you an address. You come, we talk, we figure out exactly what your role was in Castellano's downfall. Do that, and I let Dante go unharmed. Refuse, and he dies for protecting someone who isn't worth protecting. Your choice. Victor, don't. 1 hour, Maya. Don't be late. And don't tell anyone about this call. I have people watching Romano's building. I'll know if you reach out for help." He hung up. A text arrived immediately with an address, a warehouse in the industrial district. The same area where Dante had first brought me after the kidnapping. I sat there, phone in hand, trying to think. I could stay here, safe, let Dante handle this himself. But if Victor really had him detained, really was threatening to kill him. Or I could go. Trade myself for Dante. Face whatever Victor planned alone. The choice was obvious. Terrifying, but obvious. I grabbed my jacket and left the apartment, ignoring every instruction Dante had given about staying inside and staying safe. Because he'd risked war for me. The least I could do was risk myself for him. The warehouse was exactly as ominous as expected. Empty street, industrial wasteland, the kind of place where bad things happened and no one noticed. I walked in through the open bay door, finding a large empty space with a single chair in the center. Victor Russo stood nearby, late 50s, gray hair, expensive suit, flanked by armed men. Maya Torres. Punctual. I appreciate that. He gestured to the chair. Sit. Where's Dante? Nearby. Unharmed for now. but his continued health depends entirely on this conversation. He settled across from me, studying my face. You're not what I expected. The woman who brought down Castellano, who provided information that cost him his life, I expected someone harder. More calculating. You look like a schoolteacher. I'm an accountant. An accountant who accessed confidential files, copied sensitive documents, and handed them to Dante Romano knowing it would result in violence. That's not just accounting. That's espionage. He leaned forward. Why? Why risk yourself for information that had nothing to do with you? Because Dante gave me a choice. Cooperate or die. I chose survival. Honest. I appreciate honesty. He stood, pacing slowly. Here's my problem, Maya. Dante Romano is claiming you're under permanent protection. That you're important to him personally. But you're also the reason my business relationship with Castellano ended badly, the reason I lost a profitable operation, the reason I had to renegotiate territory agreements with the Romano family from a weaker position. You cost me money and respect. That demands compensation. What kind of compensation? Your life. Publicly. Send a message that providing information against Russo family interests has consequences. He said it calmly, like discussing a business transaction. Nothing personal. Just business. And Dante? Goes free. I don't want war with the Romano family. Just want justice for damages caused. You for him. Fair trade. No. The voice came from behind me, Dante's voice, cold and furious. There is no trade. She's not negotiable. I spun to see Dante walking in, surrounded by his own armed men, looking absolutely murderous. Blood on his temple suggested he'd fought his way out of wherever Victor had held him. This meeting was supposed to be neutral ground, Victor. You detaining me, threatening Maya, that's a violation of protocols. Which means negotiations are over. He moved to stand beside me, his hand on my shoulder, protective and possessive. Maya Torres is under permanent Romano protection. Anyone who threatens her dies. That's not negotiation. That's fact. Accept it or prepare for war. Victor's men raised their weapons. Dante's men did the same. The warehouse was suddenly a powder keg waiting for a spark. You'd really go to war over one woman? Victor asked. Over this woman? Absolutely. Dante's hand tightened on my shoulder. She's mine, Victor. Mine to protect, mine to care about, mine to go to war for if necessary. Test me on this and you'll regret it. Dante, don't, I started, but he cut me off. Quiet, Maya. This is handled. He never took his eyes off Victor. So what's it going to be? Accept the terms or bleed for your pride. The tension was suffocating. Everyone armed, everyone ready, one wrong word away from massacre. Finally, Victor laughed, short and bitter. You're serious. Actually serious about going to war over an accountant? Over my woman. Yes. Then she must be extraordinary. Victor lowered his weapon, signaling his men to stand down. Fine. She's under permanent Romano protection. Any Russo family investigation into her role in the Castellano situation ends today. She's yours, Dante. Congratulations. Smart choice. Dante's hand moved to my waist, pulling me against him. Come on, Maya. We're leaving. He guided me out, his men covering our retreat, and didn't speak until we were in his car speeding away from the warehouse. What the hell were you thinking? He exploded. Coming here alone, trading yourself for me? He said he'd kill you if I didn't come. So you risked yourself? Put yourself directly in danger after I spent weeks keeping you safe. His hands were white-knuckled on the steering wheel. Maya, you could have died. Victor could have killed you the moment you walked in. What would I have done then? The same thing I'd have done if he'd killed you. Grieved and moved on. No. No, that's not. He pulled over abruptly, turning to face me. Maya, I can't lose you. I know that's selfish, I know I put you in this situation, I know I have no right to care this much. But I can't lose you. Do you understand? I can't watch another person I care about die because I failed to protect them. I can't. Then don't. Protect me. Keep me safe. Let me stay with you not because I'm forced to but because I choose to. I touched his face, feeling him lean into it. I'm choosing you, Dante. All of this, all of you. The danger, the complications, everything. I'm choosing it. Are you sure? Because once you choose, once you commit to this life, I'm sure. I've been sure for weeks. I was just waiting for you to catch up. I kissed him, finally, after weeks of tension and almost moments. So yes. Your woman. Yours to protect. Yours to care about. Yours. His kiss was desperate, claiming, full of relief and fear and something that felt dangerously like love. Mine, he murmured against my lips. My wrong Maya Torres who became exactly right. My woman. My choice. Mine. Yours, I agreed. And for the first time since being grabbed off the street 2 months ago, I felt like I was exactly where I was supposed to be. Wrong place, wrong time, wrong name. But right man. Right choice. Right life. Finally. 3 months later, the thing about choosing to stay in a dangerous man's life is that eventually, the danger becomes routine. The armed guards outside our building now since I'd officially moved in, were just part of the landscape. The weekly meetings where Dante discussed business that I didn't ask about became background noise. The knowledge that my boyfriend was a criminal enforcer became just another fact about him, like how he took his coffee black or read Italian poetry before bed. Normal in the strangest possible way. You're staring again, Dante observed from across the breakfast table, not looking up from his newspaper. Something on your mind? Just thinking about how weird my life has become. 3 months ago I was terrified of you. Now I'm annoyed you used the last of the good coffee and didn't tell me. There's more in the cabinet. That's not the point. The point is communication, Dante. We've discussed this. He finally looked up, smiling slightly. Are we really having a domestic argument about coffee? Is this what we've become? Apparently. Is that a problem? No. It's actually nice. Normal. He set down the paper, reaching across to take my hand. I like this. Us. The routine. Coming home to you, waking up with you. Having arguments about coffee instead of life or death situations. We had a life or death situation 2 weeks ago when the Luciano family tried to encroach on Romano territory. That was business. This is us. There's a difference. His thumb traced circles on my palm. Maya, I need to tell you something. Something I've been avoiding because it makes this more real. More real than me living with you and working for your accounting firm and being introduced as your girlfriend to every criminal in the city? What's more real than that? This. He pulled a small box from his pocket, setting it on the table between us. I love you. I'm in love with you. Have been for months, probably since you walked into that warehouse alone to trade yourself for me. And I want this to be permanent. Not just girlfriend, not just the woman I live with. Wife. Partner. Forever. I stared at the box, my heart pounding. Dante, are you proposing? Yes. Badly, over breakfast coffee, without any of the romance you deserve. But I can't wait anymore, can't keep pretending this is temporary or casual. You're it for me, Maya. The wrong woman who became exactly right. Will you marry me? I opened the box, finding a ring that was stunning, elegant, understated, perfect. This is insane. We met because your men kidnapped me by mistake. That's not a love story, that's a crime. It's our story. Messy, complicated, started all wrong. But it's ours and I wouldn't change it. He came around the table, kneeling beside my chair. Maya, I know I don't deserve you. I know I put you through hell, forced you into this life, gave you no real choice in the beginning. But you're choosing to stay now. Choosing me. Let me choose you back. Officially, legally, permanently. Your family will think I'm crazy. Your mother already thinks I'm too good for you. My mother adores you. She told me last week that if I didn't propose soon, she'd do it for me. He took the ring from the box. So what do you say? Will you be the wrong Maya Torres who becomes Mrs. Romano? I thought about the past 5 months. The terror, the confusion, the slow transformation from victim to survivor to something more. The way Dante had protected me, cared for me, let me see every part of him, the violence and the gentleness, the danger and the devotion. Yes. Yes, I'll marry you. Against all logic and reason and common sense, yes. He slid the ring onto my finger, then kissed me with a desperation that suggested he hadn't been sure I'd say yes. When we broke apart, we were both grinning like idiots. We're getting married, I said, testing the words. We're getting married, he confirmed. Fair warning, my family's going to want a huge Italian wedding. Hundreds of guests, excessive food, dancing until dawn. Can you handle that? Can you handle my friend Jessica interrogating you about your intentions? Because she's been suspicious since I told her I was dating my boss. I'll win her over. I'm very charming when I try. You're very terrifying when you try. There's a difference. But I was laughing, giddy and overwhelmed and absurdly happy. Dante, this is crazy. Everything about us is crazy. Best things usually are. He pulled me to my feet, wrapping his arms around me. I love you, Maya Elena Torres. Soon to be Maya Elena Romano. Thank you for choosing me. For staying. For seeing past what I am to who I am. I love you too. Even though you're a criminal who kidnapped me and threatened to kill me. I never actually would have killed you. You said you would. I was establishing dominance. It's different. But he was smiling. Besides, the moment I saw you in that office, terrified but trying to be brave, I knew I wasn't letting you go. Wrong, Maya Torres or not? Why? What made you decide to keep me? He considered the question seriously. Honestly? The way you looked at me. Not with the fear I expected, but with this calculation. Like you were already figuring out how to survive, how to turn the situation to your advantage. You weren't broken or defeated. You were strategizing. That's when I knew you were special. So you fell for me because I was too stubborn to fall apart? I fell for you because you were strong enough to survive being thrown into my world and smart enough to thrive in it. Everything else just confirmed what I knew in that first meeting, that you were worth keeping. He kissed my forehead. Best mistake my men ever made, grabbing the wrong woman. Your men are going to be insufferable when they find out you're marrying me. They'll take credit. They absolutely will. Marco already thinks he's responsible for our relationship because he was driving the van that grabbed you. Dante's phone buzzed and he checked it with a sigh. I have a meeting in an hour. Business thing. Will you be okay here? I'll be fine. I have work to do anyway. Grace sent over files to review. I touched the ring, still not quite believing it was real. Go. Handle your criminal empire. I'll be here when you get back. Criminal enterprise. Empire sounds presumptuous. He grabbed his jacket, checking his weapon out of habit. I'll be back by dinner. We can celebrate properly then. And Maya? Yes? Don't tell anyone yet. Not until I can tell my family in person. My mother will kill me if she finds out through gossip. Your secret's safe with me. I'm very good at keeping secrets now. Too good. Sometimes I worry about what you're not telling me. But he was teasing. I love you. See you tonight. He left and I sat there with my coffee and my ring and my utterly insane life. Engaged to Dante Romano. The man who'd kidnapped me by mistake and somehow become the best thing that ever happened to me. I called Jessica because I absolutely couldn't keep this secret for more than 5 minutes. Hey. What's up? She answered on the second ring. I'm engaged. Silence. Then I'm sorry, what? Dante proposed this morning. I said yes. I'm engaged. To your boss? The scary Italian guy who you've been dating for 3 months? That Dante? That Dante? Yes. Maya, are you sure about this? I mean, I'm happy for you, but it's so fast and you've been so secretive about him. I'm sure. I know it's fast. I know it's crazy. But Jess, he's it. The one. I can't explain it better than that. Okay. Okay, if you're sure, then I'm happy for you. But I'm meeting him. Officially. I need to make sure he's good enough for you. He's not. But he's trying to be. That's good enough for me. I looked at the ring, catching light from the window. He makes me happy, Jess. Really, genuinely happy. That's enough. Then congratulations. I can't wait to meet the man who finally got you to settle down. She paused. He's not secretly a serial killer or something, right? Define serial killer. Maya. I'm kidding. He's not a serial killer. He's just in a complicated line of work. But he's good to me. That's what matters. We talked for another 20 minutes, Jessica demanding details about the proposal and the ring and when the wedding would be. By the time I hung up, I was grinning so hard my face hurt. I spent the day working on accounting files, planning dinner, and occasionally just staring at my ring like a teenager with her first crush. It was ridiculous and wonderful and completely surreal. Dante came home at 6, looking tired but satisfied. Meeting went well. We've secured new territory agreements with the Castellano replacement. Everything's settled. That's good. I handed him a glass of wine. Dinner's almost ready. And I may have told Jessica about the engagement. May have? Definitely told. Sorry, I couldn't help it. She's my best friend and I was excited. I leaned against the counter. She wants to meet you. Officially. As my fiancé. I can handle that. I'm very good with concerned friends. He pulled me close. Did you tell her how we met? I told her you're my boss and we've been dating 3 months. The kidnapping seemed like too much information for right now. Probably wise. We met when my men kidnapped her by mistake, isn't a great first impression. He kissed me softly. Thank you. For saying yes. For choosing this life. For being brave enough to stay. Thank you for being worth staying for. I rested my head on his chest, listening to his heartbeat. Dante, do you ever regret it? Your men grabbing the wrong Maya Torres? Every day I'm grateful they grabbed the wrong one. Because the right Maya Torres would have been just a job, just an asset. But you? You're everything. His arms tightened. Best mistake they ever made. Best mistake I ever made was taking that shortcut through the industrial district the night your men grabbed me. You didn't take a shortcut. We'd been following you for a week, waiting for the right moment. If not that night, we'd have grabbed you another time. So romantic. I stalked you for a week before kidnapping you. Really sweeps a girl off her feet. And yet here we are. Engaged. Proves my methods work. But he was laughing. We ate dinner on the balcony, watching the city lights, planning a future that would have seemed impossible 5 months ago. A wedding. A life together. Maybe eventually kids, though that conversation was for later. I love you, I said as the sun set. Wrong place, wrong time, wrong name. But somehow right everything else. I love you too. My wrong Maya Torres who became my right everything. He raised his glass. To mistakes that become miracles. To choices that become forever. I clinked my glass against his. And somewhere in the city below, life went on, people being grabbed, threats being made, deals being struck. Dante's world, operating in shadows and violence. But up here in our space we were just 2 people who'd found each other in the most unlikely way possible. Who'd chosen each other despite everything. Who were building something real from a foundation of mistakes and danger and wrong names leading to right love.